CBS 46 News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
And good morning to you and welcome to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Gloria Neal. April is Autism Awareness Month. And in this edition of Public Affairs on Peach, you're going to learn and hear a lot more about autism. Got a recent report from the CDC that's showing there is no change in how common autism is. CDC research diagnosed 1 in 68 children with autism. That number has not changed in 2 years, and health officials say it's too soon, really, to conclude whether the prevalence of autism has stabilized.
The take home from this data is really saying, okay, now we have yet one more estimate suggesting this is a really common neurodevelopmental disorder.
The report adds that boys are 4.5 times more likely to have autism than girls. So now we are going to explore that subject further in the next half hour. Beginning with our first guest, Dr. Cheryl Clayman. She is the senior psychologist at the Marcus Autism Center. So thanks so much for being with us. Now, you want me to call you by your first name or
First
Dr.
name is
Clayman?
fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks
Cheryl,
for
there
having me.
is so much. You are so welcome. Thanks for joining us. It is so very, very obvious. So many people say, well, what is autism? And just take us back, because as our viewers are watching, start at the very basic level. Talk about autism.
Sure. So autism is what we call a neurodevelopmental disability. And so that means that it affects an individual's ability to socially interact or engage in these reciprocal back and forth interactions with other people. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, describes autism really as a group of developmental disabilities that affect an individual's ability to socialize, communicate, and engage in more behavioral challenges that we might see.
Right. And so how is autism diagnosed and treated? I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that most people have, even those who have family members or loved ones who have to deal with that aspect of it.
Sure. So autism is diagnosed by bringing your child to a center such as Marcus Autism Center, where we're experts in looking at the signs and symptomatologies. It's a behavioral disorder. Right. So we're looking at those behaviors to see if a child has difficulties with their social skills, with their communication skills, if they engage in more repetitive behaviors, if they get stuck on certain topics for times that longer than they should.
And so treated just depends on the child. There's not a panacea or one size fits all kind of treatment.
No, and there's lots of treatments that are out there that purport to cure autism or to say that they're going to make these major changes, and those are not empirically validated. So at Marcus, we only really recommend empirically validated treatments, things like behavioral therapies, developmental therapy, speech therapy.
You know, I'd imagine there are a lot of misconceptions when you start talking about autism. Let's talk a little bit about those misconceptions.
Sure, I think one of the biggest misconceptions really is that autism is one and the same for everybody. So when we give a diagnosis, we really want to explore a child's unique strengths and differences. Individuals in the same family that both have autism might present very differently, just like siblings would in the same families. So we want to make sure we're understanding each individual's unique profile so that we can help each individual live to their potential.
You know, that's probably been one of the biggest challenges. I mean, again, you think about one size fits all. You really probably, or families really probably encounter that a lot when you start talking about siblings, right? That have autism. So how do you handle or combat that?
And so, what we do is a lot of behavioral observation, so we can say to a family, these are your child's unique strengths and weaknesses, and this is how we want to help that child in treatment. Some children have cognitive delays, some are above average IQ, some have lots of great verbal skills, and some are nonverbal. Some might have a lot of behavioral challenges where others have no behavioral challenges or sensory issues. So we really want to make sure that we're targeting the unique needs of each individual.
That is a very, very good point to make. Tell us about some of these services that are offered at the Marcus Autism Center.
Sure. So we have a wide range of services. We're one of the largest centers for autism services in the United States. And so we have everything really from diagnostic assessments. We have a very large group of individuals that's making those differential diagnoses. We have lots of treatment services, from things like teaching kids how to speak, to their social skills, to in-home behavioral support services, to teaching kids how to toilet train, to teaching kids how to reduce severe behaviors if they're aggressive to themselves or others, to feeding therapies, to care coordination.
You know, because you think about it, you need everything from really the beginning to the end. You need everything, and by that I mean just the whole gamut. You know, you absolutely see that. Are there any kind of special projects that are going on at Marcus?
So we have lots of research projects that are happening. Since about 5 years ago when Dr. Klin joined the center, we've been getting a lot of grant funding to be able to try and help more individuals, to try and take our services. We can't see every child within the doors of the Marcus Autism Center. We want to make treatments more community viable. We want to bring things to people's communities. So we've got lots of projects in terms of research, trying to understand how to diagnose earlier, as young as possible, maybe even before signs are present, to helping kids not run into the streets, because kids can run into the street and then get hit by a car. So we want to help. We want to help kids reduce their feeding challenges.
Oh, all of that.
Things like that. So there's lots of research happening.
Dr. Cheryl Clement, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So next, when we come back, because I don't want you to go anywhere, we've got Public Affairs on Peach returning, and we are just getting started. When we come back, we will talk to the Executive Director of Autism Speaks. Stay with us.